Welcome to We Question and Learn. This is Tom Pies. We're celebrating our 20th year on the air here at WQLN NPR FM 91.3. We're on a dozen podcast venues, if not more. I'm discovering a few more as we go along. Program has some good reach and consequence. Today we have a very, very special guest, Jim Bock, and he's the chairman. And I guess you are also the municipal administrator for the Township Operations and Services of Millcreek Township in Northwest Pennsylvania. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Tom. Yes, actually, I'm not the chairman this year. I was in 2023, but that rotates. So,
okay.
I'm not the chairman in 2024. That would pass to the next supervisor in line. We rotate that duty.
Okay, duties as assigned. You got out of that one. All right, good.
Yeah.
Okay, so the election just went by. So when's the official appointment date?
So we actually had our reorganizational meeting at the township building on January 2nd. So it took place on January 2nd, and that's when I was sworn in for my second term, and that's when we assigned duties and reorganized per the second-class township code. That meeting has to be held on the first Tuesday of the year. So we fulfilled that requirement and had that on January 2nd.
Great. So this is recorded on the 10th for those who are curious. It'll be broadcast the first Sunday of February. So the official title is not chairman, but you still have all your duties that you've had in prior years?
Yes, that's correct. So, my elected position is as township supervisor.
Right. Okay,
that is a non-paid position. Some municipalities, quite a few municipalities, actually pass an ordinance for the supervisors to receive meeting pay based on the population of their township. And in Millcreek, we could certainly do that. We would pass an ordinance, and then based on our population, each supervisor would then earn $5,000 per year for attending meetings and voting and various township business. Like I said, we don't do that. So the second-class township code permits supervisors then to actually then appoint themselves as employees of the township. I know it, in a way, it sounds a little bit odd, but that's in the code, and that it was laid out many years ago, and a lot of municipalities do that around here, Summit, Harbor Creek, etc. So yes, so my employee title then is I'm a public administrator, and in this year I am in the liaison, and I oversee directly the Parks and Recreation Department, the Community Relations Department, and the Administration Department at the township. So that is my then paid position.
Now, do you have other appointments, say, that are relative to, say, communicating with other townships, maybe across Pennsylvania?
Yes. So I'm also I'm with the ECATO representative, ECATO, and that stands for Erie County Association of Township Officials.
Wonderful.
So I am part of the ECATO organization. We all are, but I'm the representative, so I attend we have monthly meetings with that involves other townships in the area. Primarily, I interact a lot with Fairview, Summit, Harbor Creek, Greene, McCain. Those are the some of the immediate townships that border Millcreek. So when we meet each month, we go over various township business that we think would have a common theme, and that anyone can bring up anything they want to discuss. And it's just a nice opportunity to network with other townships on a monthly basis. And then we have a nice conference that takes place. It's just a one-day conference locally at a local location that's decided upon, and that's a very nice one-day conference. And they bring in different vendors that would do, demonstrations. We had a nice demonstration by Penelec. They came last year and the year prior and did a nice hands-on, not hands-on for us. It was regarding electricity and the dangers of it, downed wires and things. But they actually bring like a truck and a trailer with wires and do a demonstration of what can occur if you're not, aware of the dangers of that. So the townships around here, I know from firsthand experience, are really, really good at communicating with their residents, and we really have a good working relationship with those other townships.
Could you go back to one thing you mentioned? There used to be a group where all the townships, maybe the county, not sure if the city was involved, I thought it was, where you folks would get together and maybe discuss how to share expenses in order to gain some cost benefits because of volume. Is that still around?
Yes, that is still around, and that's called the COG.
The COG's still rolling. Okay, good. Yeah.
COG, yeah, the Council of Governments, and Millcreek Township is also a member of the COG. I'm not directly involved in that, although I do periodically attend COG meetings. But that is, we are still a member of the COG, and there is some, we do see some cost savings there with regards to different aggregates, stone, salt, different things like that. We can, sometimes go in as a group for purchasing power. But realistically, for Millcreek's, from our perspective, Millcreek and the city are probably the two largest purchasers of, aggregates and things locally. So, we do benefit, but I don't think we benefit financially as much as, some of the smaller townships that come in and can piggyback, so to speak, or join in with Millcreek and the city for, for greater savings on things. But we are definitely involved in that. Yes.
You have two good partners there, Kim Clear and Dan. Could you talk a little bit about how you all three work together to take care of Millcreek Township? Yeah,
so it's a 3 supervisor system. So we all, as I stated before, we each have different liaisonships that we are assigned at the beginning of the year. So Mrs. Clear oversees the police department and the emergency management department, and then Mr. Ouellette oversees public works and the also the emergency or the code office. So public works encompasses the streets department, the sewer department, the maintenance department, and then also zoning, which includes our planning and development department. So that's how we, broke it up for 2024. And then, we have offices and obviously in the same area, the township building. So, there's constant, communication taking place, whether it's via email, text, or, obviously we have a lot of meetings so we go over, various township business that would need addressed.
For folks listening from afar, how many employees do you have, all told?
So Millcreek has approximately 210 employees.
Oh, my goodness. I thought you were going to say 50 or 60. This is an education. No. Thank you for that.
So we have, just kind of a brief overview maybe of Millcreek. We have approximately 54,000 residents, 210 miles of roadway, and like I said, approximately 210 employees, and that includes 66 police officers.
And they do an excellent job, and that's another. I thought there were maybe 20. There's 66. This is a great education. and they all have their appropriate duties as well. Something new, fire protection. Can you talk about that, please?
Yeah, so what's new as far as fire protection goes is we actually have started a paid full-time fire department. So, it's been a long time coming. Our volunteer companies, Westridge, Westlake, Kearsarge, Bell Valley, have been instrumental, obviously, in fire and emergency response coverage throughout their, probably 70 plus years, depending on, which company formed when. But, some of the companies were formed in the 40s and 50s, et cetera. But they've done a fantastic job. But as most people know, the volunteer component of fire has dwindled significantly over the past 20 to 30 years. It's just been a gradual decline in volunteerism. So for a township the size of Millcreek, we felt that what we were seeing was kind of the response times were increasing, and sometimes there would be a gap in coverage. And this is certainly not a criticism of the current volunteers. It's just the reality of not having enough volunteers and not having them on duty at the right time, or even 24 hours. So we felt it was a long time coming, but we felt that it was time to implement a paid staff. So just to backtrack a little bit, Tom, Westridge actually started a part-time paid staff several years ago, probably, I'm guessing, the 7 to 10 year range. They started what's called the IRT team, and it's a small group of part-time paid firefighters. But they were not on duty 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They worked the typical 8-hour shift. And they would also sometimes respond even outside of Millcreek. They might go into McCain or Fairview or something periodically to respond. So, and that really filled a good gap, but we felt it just wasn't quite enough. So we actually brought in a consultant. He's a full-time fire chief from down in the Pittsburgh area, and he came in and kind of did an analysis of the township and said, yeah, apparatus-wise, equipment-wise, like fire engines, pumper trucks, ladder trucks, things of that nature, Millcreek is very, very well equipped with equipment. That the equipment is not the issue. It was manpower, and he saw that as well. And it's this again. The second-class township code just says that the particular municipality is tasked with providing fire protection. It doesn't say how or what's the best way. There's no mandate to really do anything other than you're responsible for it. So the state has really kind of taken a hands-off approach and really left it in the lap of the municipalities. So we did an analysis and determined that we wanted a certain response time with a certain amount of people. That was our kind of our benchmark. So this is just kind of the first process to do that. We brought on 9 full-time paid firefighters and 21 part-time.
Wonderful.
And a full-time paid fire chief.
With all the retail, the professional buildings, the residential, obviously, it seems like this is just an excellent move right now. Yeah, and we did, in order to implement this, we did implement a fire tax, which was started in 2023. It's small, and but we thought, well, let's get started. Let's get this off the ground and just start
in my opinion, we need to start very small and slow and just gradually build this the right way. And so the firefighters, the 9 full-time firefighters, they work 24-hour shifts.
Mm-hmm.
So they work 24 hours on, like the city of Erie firefighters, and then they get 48 hours off, and then 24 hours on, et cetera. So that's the schedule they're working. And actually, what I think people may not know as well is that actually fire response to actual structure fires is a very small part of what the firefighter does. There's other components. They go to most of the traffic accidents that happen. They respond to medical calls, etc. So that's one of the priorities of our new fire chief as well, is to get the firefighters cross-trained to also be paramedics.
Right.
So, and that's I think that's the direction that we're taking here, is to have them dual trained, so then when they do respond to a medical call, you actually have 1 or 2 paramedics. That's the next level of care above an EMT. So that's been a very nice benefit.
I wanted to bring up a most important project, and that's to talk about the sanitary sewer station in Millcreek. This has been a bone of contention for, many years. It's a 40-year-old problem, and you've taken some good action, and you've gained some support to accomplish that project. Can you talk a little bit about the money you received and what the project entails?
Right. So we've done several big sanitary sewer projects recently. One was down in the Wilkins, they call it the Wilkins Run area. That's down in the northwest part of Millcreek. And that was completed this year. And that was a big project. It entailed opening up the roadway on Wilkins Road.
Okay.
And it ran kind of the whole span of Wilkins Road up to the railroad tracks to the south, and then heading north, going down to one of our pump stations. And that was a much needed project that was completed. And then the upcoming one that's been in the works for several years is the Kearsarge.
That's it. That's it.
Yes. Yeah. It's called the Kearsarge Sanitary Force Main Project. And that is in the area of the Millcreek Mall, I-79 area. And that is going to be a big project. And that is going to install there's actually going to be over 6,000 lineal feet of new sanitary line put down. And they are going to have to actually bore under Interstate 79.
Wow.
So it's going to be a big project. I don't have too many more specifics yet as far as, start date and how long it's going to take to complete. I wish I had those facts for you, but I know it's just a project that is slated for 2024.
And you got help from the state, the Commonwealth and the governor. Yeah. So, that indicates what an important project it is. Staffing, you're all right with staffing? That is, you have over 200 employees, but is everything adequate for you in that area? Is there some growth that the township needs in the way of employment?
I think there's a few holes that we could probably fill. I think one would be in the administration department. We are looking at hiring another accountant. We're looking at that office. I think needs some help there, and I think also out at our Millfair Recycling Center on Millfair Road, which we jointly operate with Fairview. We're looking at hopefully maybe getting an on-site supervisor in place out there. That I'd like to talk about that facility a little bit. since I just brought it up. That's really a great facility for anybody that isn't aware of the Millfair Recycling Center out on Millfair Road, which is hence the name Millcreek Fairview. It's the road that runs north and south all the way from Route 5 all the way actually into McCain Township. It goes for many, many miles south, but just north of West Ridge Road is the Millfair Recycling Center, which is an operation it runs from. We'll open back up, I think March 15th, I believe, is the date that we're slated to reopen. And we go from March 15th until early December. And then that is a facility where people can come and get wood chips, they can get topsoil, they can get mulch for very, very reasonable prices. And then they can also drop off limbs, small limbs, and compost and different things, and it's really a great service,
and it's unique to a lot of communities. Yes. For the West County,
Fairview, Girard residents, they come in, and all you do is just show your driver's license just for a quick, hey, here's where I live, and I qualify, and then you can utilize the services there. So we're looking at maybe getting an on-site supervisor there. All the employees there are part-time, and they're shared. They have Fairview as part-time employees, and we have part-time employees there. So
good. In the last 5 minutes here, before we run out of time, could you take a couple of minutes and discuss the Presque Isle Gateway District? What's the status of that? Where is it going? There's going to be a lot of questions. I'm not looking for detail here. I'm just looking for a snapshot from 5,000 feet as to what it is and where it's going.
Sure. Yeah, I can give you a quick status update of the West 8th Street area. So the latest down there is we did receive some funding from the Erie County Land Bank for demolition. So there's 5 properties down there. The former Joe Roots on the corner, the former Sandbar, the former Manor Motel, the Grasshopper, the small building there, and then the Bel Air, and then there are, I believe, 2 outbuildings on the Bel Air property.
Yes,
so,
there are.
Yeah, so slated for demolition in early 2024 would be the Joe Roots, the Sandbar, the Manor Motel, and the small one-story outbuildings of the Bel Air. The Bel Air itself, the main part of what we know as the Bel Air Conference Center, will not be touched at this time, nor will the Grasshopper building, which is a small building.
Didn't that have some historical value, or am I mistaken?
It definitely has historical value. It is what research has come to indicate is a former schoolhouse. We don't quite know the extent of the schoolhouse, if it was actually a public schoolhouse or just utilized by a lot of the farm families that lived in the area, but there's no doubt it was a schoolhouse of sorts at one point, and definitely has some historical value. And there's a nice group of residents that have started a grassroots effort to preserve that building, and I'm a part of that group too. I would like to see, I would love to see that building preserved. So the demolition, the bids went out. They were awarded to the bidder. I believe it was Empire Demolition. So they are slated to begin that demolition, like I said, early in 2024. I'm anticipating probably within the next couple months, 2 to 3 months, you should see some work down there starting.
If someone had questions, what's the proper path of communication relative to the project?
Yes, so that would be through our planning and development director, Matt Waldinger. And he is also the executive director. He's been appointed the executive director of the General Authority, which is a kind of an arm, you could say, of the township, and that's who you would contact at the Millcreek Township building, Matt Waldinger, and he's the point person for the project down there.
Okay, sounds like you've got a lot of things. I noticed a few other projects here. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. The fire department's in good shape. Your police department provides excellent service.
Yes.
The township supervisors, the money is coming in for different projects. Any last thoughts that you would like to relay to the audience?
Oh, just that we are, we're always available. I'm always available by phone, email, any means. People come in, they still come into the township building and want to meet with the supervisors or employees, and we're very hands-on here, and we're always willing to help. And in my opinion, we're very accessible.
You are. It's a fun place to visit, and if you have a question, 99.9% of the time it gets answered. And the other micro question, you'll look it up. You'll figure it out, I'm sure. And
That's right.
Yeah, what a pleasure to have you speak with us today. Thank you, Jim Bock, and thank you for your service to the community. And maybe we'll catch up with you in fall and see how everything is going, how the new project is going, and congratulations on your service to Millcreek for this year.
Thank you, Tom. It's been my pleasure.
Beer enthusiasts, get ready. The Erie Craft Beer Fest 2024 is coming to the brewery at Union Station on April 13th. Join us for a day of exceptional brews, unique flavors, and great company. Discover craft beers from the region's finest breweries and celebrate our love for hops and barley. April 13th, 2024. It's a date. Don't miss out on the ultimate beer lover's experience. Get your tickets at eriebeerfest.com.
Giving young people the chance to explore STEAM, science, technology, engineering, art, and math opens up a world of possibilities for their future. Penn State Barron STEAM Fair links learning and career opportunities, engaging students in interactive experiences led by regional companies and organizations. The fair is free and open to the public on Monday, February 26 from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. in Junkers Center on the campus of Penn State Barron. The STEAM Fair is sponsored by Wabtec and supported by WQLN PBS.
Welcome to We Question and Learn. This is Tom Pies, and we're celebrating our 20th year on the air here at FM 91.3 WQLN. I'm very fortunate to have a great guest, Emily Biddle, and Emily is the Director of Marketing and Research at Visit Erie. Welcome to the airwaves. Glad to have you here.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. I appreciate you having me on.
Well, this is interesting because we haven't chatted with you folks in quite a long time, and we humbly apologize for that. But as I started to ask around and look at your website, my gosh, you have all kinds of things going on. And I think people need to know how this works. And we're going to make everyone aware of the outstanding work that Visit Erie does. Now, you've been there, 2 years in your position, but you've been there longer than 2 years. Am I right?
Yeah, that's right. I've been in my position as Director of Marketing Research at Visit Erie for, I guess it'll be coming up on 2 years next month. But I've been with the organization for, it'll be 10. So I was previously with the same organization, but in a different role with the Erie Sports Commission. I was their marketing and communications manager. So the Sports Commission does a similar role as a division of Visit Erie, but instead of trying to attract leisure travelers, as Visit Erie predominantly does, the Sports Commission works to attract sporting events. But all in all, I've been working, to promote Erie as a destination for tourists of many different kinds for, now that I've done math, a decade.
Yeah, can we talk about, for a few seconds, was the Sports Commission a separate organization?
No, the Sports Commission is simply a division of Visit Erie. It's branded to look like a separate organization, so that when they're out meeting with sports rights holders and event planners, they can appear to be a standalone. But they're a division of Visit Erie, just as Visit Erie has a division that works on convention sales and services as well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So where are you located?
Our offices are located, we're very lucky to be right on the bayfront. We're in the intermodal building right next to the Glasgow Library. So we've got a great view of the bay from our offices. We're lucky for that.
It's a fantastic place, and you're right in the heart of a lot of action. Now, let's start from scratch. Visit Erie is how old now? I've forgotten. It's been around a long time.
It's been a minute. From my understanding, I think it was 2001.
Yes.
That the Convention and Visitors Bureau separated from the chamber. I couldn't tell you when we became Visit Erie and not the Erie Area Convention and Visitors Bureau. So it was well before my time, but we've definitely been around for a long time, making sure that people are aware of, Erie as a destination for all types of tourism.
I remember talking with John Oliver. It's got to be 15 years ago now. For folks to know, John Oliver is the president and CEO, and he's been in that job more than a decade, I'm imagining.
Oh, yeah. I want to say 20 years at least.
Visit Erie is an excellent organization. I'm sure it's funded. How do you get funding? How does this work?
Yeah, so the majority of our funding comes from a portion of the hotel tax. So really we're funded by essentially the results of the work that we do. When people come to Erie and stay in hotels, I think we're all familiar with that. You go to stay in a hotel and you get your bill and there's a bunch of taxes at the end.
Yeah.
As in any destination, it's the same here. When people stay in our hotels, there are taxes at the end, and a portion of those taxes pays for our operations. Which then we, reinvest to convince more folks to come here and work on spreading that out. So yeah, it's a portion of the hotel tax countywide is the majority of what funds Visit Erie.
Yeah, people complain about it, but I've traveled different places, and they don't have things like Visit Erie, or even, they're not that big a tourist destination, and the tax is a whole lot larger. So it's relative, and I'm sure it's a good value. So what's that come to in a year? $1 million, $2 million? I think it's about $1.5 million, somewhere in there, I believe.
I think that you're right, and I am looking that up.
Well, that's for the treasurer to worry about. We'll let them. Your allocation is to go out in the community and get people to, first of all, be educated as to what in and around Erie. And there are some things that I think people are not aware of. I always think of Presque Isle, but it's not just Presque Isle. It's the Bayfront, it's the mall. I'm sure you have a laundry list of things that are interesting to do around Northwest Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I think, we know the obvious things, right? Presque Isle is obvious, Lake Erie is obvious, but the fact that we are located on such incredible natural, wonders as being on the Great Lakes is obviously we're going to attract visitors from all over the place just for that simple fact. But whenever you really start looking at our area, there's so much more, and we have the benefit of, not only proximity to these great big cities, but we have the benefit of having amenities that are reminiscent of a larger city, but in a smaller scale. I always say I've lived in Pittsburgh in a past life, and you want to go anywhere in Pittsburgh, you're going to allocate some time to getting there.
I've lived there as well.
It's hard to get around.
Yes.
Yeah, it's hard to get around, and part of the message that we're saying to visitors when you come to Erie, it's easy. This is an easy place to come and visit, because if you want to spend time at the beach, but then you also want to go and try a great restaurant that's 20 or 30 minutes away, that drive is going to be 20 or 30 minutes. It's not going to be, an hour and a half. Going to
plus the traffic.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. A trek across the county doesn't take as long as trying to get across town in a major city. So, for us, we're really, the things that we're showcasing really varies season by season. But the message sort of remains the same. It's easy to get around. This is the place you want to come to when you need to escape the traffic and the bustle and the huge, city life. We've got the lake and we've got Presque Isle, but we also have really incredible local restaurants that represent a ton of different flavors and a really diverse set of offerings. We've got one of the largest wine regions in the country. It starts in Erie, PA, and it's renowned for some of the wines that come out of Northeast in that region. We've got great family attractions, places like Splash Lagoon and Waldemere, and the incredible, renovations at the Experience Children's Museum. are attracting families all the time. The pro sports teams, you can bring your family up and go to a Seawolves or an Otters game and pay for tickets for the whole family at an affordable price and like sit right on the glass and bang on the glass during an Otters game. There's really such a wide breadth of things here that I think as locals and people who live here, it's easy to overlook them. But when you start to look at what our region has to offer from a visitor's eyes, it brings a whole new perspective.
Wineries and now breweries, two huge things. You're able to travel to a dozen of these things in a very reasonable amount of time. You don't have to cross a big metropolitan area to get to your next wine tasting destination. We have some great folks that are right here in Erie County. It's a fantastic place to sample something that you may go to Europe for.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And distilleries, people want craft. People are looking for experiences and for, flavors and things that are unique to the region. So you're right. I mean, you can experience all three of these things, but you're not, again, with a DD, you can get from sort of place to place and experience several of them in a day without just, being bogged down by traffic and congestion and all these things. Not to mention, it's gorgeous.
And winter is not a bad thing in Erie, Pennsylvania. We've got great skiing here that's adjoining great hotels and recreation. That's a unique aspect that I think I see those in bigger cities, not so much. Well, here, Florida, maybe going west of here, but we have some great entertainment for families. And that's a big deal nowadays, isn't it? Have you discovered that as well?
Yeah, I think, families of varying types are definitely one of our core audiences. And I think when you talk about families, particularly with younger children in the house, Erie is, an incredible place for them. I think especially now, things have gotten very expensive, over the last couple of years. And when you look at the amount of affordable family fun, in particular here in Erie, I think that only lends itself to, our stature as a destination for those groups. We look at when we look at who our audience is, it's only natural that Pittsburgh is our biggest audience for leisure travel.
Okay.
And when those folks, come here, you figure you can get to Pittsburgh and back on one tank of gas. If you spend, an overnight here in Erie, our hotel rates are pretty comparable or less than other places. And there is so much for families, particularly, as I said, with younger children to check out, and they can do so affordably.
By the time this gets on the air, we'll just have missed Erie Restaurant Week, but that happens every year, end of January. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. We Visit Erie started hosting that. We took it over, I believe, 4 years ago, as just a way to really shine a light on our local restaurateurs. It's after the holidays. It's enough into January where maybe some resolutions have been broken, but before Valentine's Day and Super Bowl, when we really want to get people out at our local restaurants and maybe trying a place that they haven't seen before. So, yeah, this last restaurant week had our most participating restaurants ever. It was really a nice time, and we're excited to do that again moving forward.
Yeah, in a post-COVID environment, at least you can go sit down and enjoy a meal and visit with family and friends and have a good time. Now, what I liked about Erie when I came here several decades ago, we won't count how many decades, okay? One of the fun things to do was the Greek festival and Zabava, or some people say Zabawa. I'm going to say it my way. The Polish festival. We have a jam-packed schedule of really down-home, honest, ethnic, and fun festivals here.
Oh my gosh!
I know I've seen them in Buffalo and to some degree in Pittsburgh, but they're just not quite like the ones we have here. Do you promote those?
Yeah, we do, particularly in the summer and fall. Festivals and events are a huge part of what draws tourists to our region. I want to say we typically start getting calls about summer festivals in like February. People call every year going, what day is Blues and Jazz Fest? And what day is what day is Greek Fest? You know, everybody wants to come up for those. When is Celebrate Erie?
That's right.
And again, you speak to the affordability of a vacation up here. You know, you can go to a concert on the waterfront at Liberty Park any given Tuesday in the summer months for free. And it doesn't matter that that you're not seeing, Taylor Swift is not touring in Erie, PA. But it's just a really nice time. It's a really nice time to be out at our parks and along our lake and with community, listening to music, having some local food, getting to interact with some local vendors. Our festival and events calendar is so important to tourism, and we're grateful to those people that put those events on because they are a lot of work.
I was involved a little bit with the Presque Isle Partnership, and you've got to talk about Discover Presque Isle because that's a cornerstone of the community. That's an event to come and visit. Yeah,
it was. We Visit Erie was fortunate that we had a table at Discover Presque Isle this year, so we got to speak one-on-one with so many visitors. And again, hearing their perspective when they're here and we're asking them, where are you from? Tell us what you came up to do. They all said similar things. You know, they come up every year for Discover Presque Isle. That's the first thing on their calendar for the summer. And the majority of the people we talk to, in that environment and otherwise, just have such lovely things to say about our area. And the fact that Visit Erie's job is to, tell more people how great it is here we're very lucky.
Interestingly enough, and I've been to parts of New York State where there's no toll, there's no parking fee to go out to Presque Isle. It's just great.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. What else is good around town? Celebrate Erie. You mentioned that. That goes on for more than one day, right?
Yeah, 3 days for Celebrate Erie.
Yeah.
That's a huge festival, and really something we're seeing more in the last couple of years especially is this sort of, and this isn't just in Erie, I think this is a lot of places, but the extension of the tourism season. I think as our seasons change in terms of climate, we're seeing sort of the travel window. It's not always ending on, Labor Day as it perhaps used to.
Yeah.
It's extending into that fall season when really, when you look into September, October, there are still really incredible festivals. The Downtown Partnership puts on a really nice fall festival. The Peak, I know, has a really beautiful fall festival. There's still so many like farmers markets and stuff like that going on. But then again, you're getting into the wine harvest, time of year. You're getting into shopping, which is always a big reason that we see tourists come to our region. It's for shopping season, getting ahead of the holiday bustle. And again, I mentioned sports and conventions as two other divisions of Visit Erie. Our conventions market, there's a lot of people that are coming in for their work conventions and conferences in the fall. And even as you look further into that, surprisingly, sports, and especially youth sports, when you start getting into January through like March, April, huge part of our tourism industry during those months.
I remember going up to Toronto once, and they had the Tall Ship Festival, and there's the Brig Niagara. And I got to get on it, much to my happiness. It was great to see them there. Tall ships come to Erie. I remember catching it. Now, this will not happen till what? 2025, another year, right?
Yeah, I believe 2025 will be the next one.
That's a phenomenal event. That's like an international event.
That's so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so much fun.
Yeah. You were involved or are involved in sports promotion. What can you tell us about sports in Northwest Pennsylvania?
Yeah, sports events are thriving in Northwest Pennsylvania. We have there's a lot of benefits to hosting sporting events in our region, one of which is proximity to three major cities. We're sort of in this, the middle of Buffalo, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh. So when you start looking at particularly youth sports events, here in Erie, we have these great facilities that can host them. We have the clubs and groups that want to host tournaments here in Erie. And we have that central location that's really going to pool participants from 3 different places. So, when you look at locations like the Lecom Sports Park and the Erie Sports Center that have these, great ice pads and soccer lacrosse fields, we have here in Erie County, 4 colleges with Division 1, 2, and 3 NCAA sports programs. Those are all facilities that, can be used for tournaments. In addition to hosting NCAA events, we see sports for, when you talk about youth hockey, youth lacrosse, youth soccer,
yes,
we'll see a lot of that. But then when you head into winter, in January, they host a great big gymnastics invitational every year. There's a lot, again, of NCAA tournaments. We've hosted a couple of years ago, if you recall, we hosted the NCAA Women's Frozen Four. That's the pinnacle, collegiate women's hockey tournament. It was hosted here in Erie. So the potential for visitation through sports is really significant.
Let's talk about budget. I know this sounds too much like business because we're having a lot of fun here, but I think people are interested to know. Visit Erie is an integral part of this community. It's important. You do a lot of PR, outreach. You communicate with just about everyone that has an event or a restaurant or even a campground. How do you maintain your budget? Do you get state money? Do you get federal money?
So we don't get any we don't get any federal money. We do capitalize on some state funding through a co-op program. And this is not something that is always available. It's just a program through the state that can match the amount of money that we're putting into an out-of-market media buy. As far as as far as Visit Erie's revenue goes, the vast majority, is something like 95% of our funding comes from that hotel tax.
Oh, no kidding. Okay. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. So just the local Erie County hotel tax is about 95% of our revenue. And the remainder comes, most of the remainder comes from partnership dues. So some destination marketing organizations promote their destination in full and as a whole. We do that, but we are a partner-based destination marketing organization, as many are, where businesses pay us an annual fee to be a partner, a member of Visit Erie. And through that partnership, they get the benefits of, being showcased in all of our materials. So, when we promote, we put out the annual visitor guide, for example, and our website, the businesses that we feature in those publications are paid partners of Visit Erie.
Plus, they get the advantage of having their name prominently located on your website or in the printed piece. And I know when I pick those up, forgive me, in another town, those little ads are very valuable. I hope the advertiser understands that, because you wouldn't know what kind of winery you're headed to. Those little ads are very educational. Besides being promotional, which is what they're designed to do, nothing wrong with that. But it's like the old Yellow Pages.
We print 100,000 of those every year.
Is that right?
That's sort of the benefit of, you paying a membership fee to Visit Erie is, nominal. The membership is nominal compared to what we do to put it out there. 100,000 of these visitor guides, which we're distributing, to all of the AAAs and rest stops and welcome centers and places like that. But also we're putting a lot of dollars behind promoting the fact that we have this visitor guide and getting requests from, all over the place. So that, that goes out. We've mentioned our website, which sees around a 250,000 users per year. It's exclusively Visit Erie partners that are on there. And that's just the standard stuff. We also have an app that exclusively features partners. We do a lot of, advertising every year. Hundreds of millions of impressions in advertising every year to get people to come to our website or request this guide. And then beyond that, we're very active on our social channels, where we have an active, communications and PR department, where we're bringing in writers and influencers and bloggers and things like that are actively talking about these businesses and the things that there are to do in Erie County. it's an interesting, or organization that we're running, because especially locally, folks in Erie County really don't see the work of Visit Erie because we're not trying to reach them. They're already here. We're trying to reach, those folks in our target markets in Buffalo and Cleveland and Pittsburgh, and some others. But really the products that Visit Erie is putting out there are quite substantial to try to showcase our region and get these visitors to come up here.
There are things in there you don't think of doing.
Yeah, it's really easy, right? Whenever you live here to sort of go, even I do it, and this is my job,
Yeah.
My parents will come up and be like, well, what do you want to do?
What do you want to do here
Oh
today?
gosh, I don't know. It's a really valuable tool even for locals, and they're free. I mean, anybody can come get one of these guides either at our office or anywhere, and keep it in your house. Whenever your family or friends come to visit, you can have it there.
Are group tours popular for folks to come to our area?
To an extent, yeah. It's declined a little bit, especially post-pandemic. Bus tour and group travel has declined a little bit. But particularly when we talk about shopping, even though this isn't an area of focus necessarily for Visit Erie, we hear from others that shopping remains sort of a primary reason that group travel is coming down in busloads, particularly from Canadian markets.
A question. Local folks can sponsor you in some way? Can they help you? No?
No.
Not sponsor. Can they buy ads or something in the Visit Erie publication? Nope. Okay, just asking.
Businesses, if there is a business that wants to be a partner of Visit Erie, we welcome that. We want as many businesses where a visitor can spend their time. We want those folks to all be partners of Visit Erie. So we welcome all of that.
Okay.
But in our guide, since we own it and produce it, it's only Visit Erie partners that can advertise in the guide as well.
How large is that magazine now? One I had took up the back seat.
Oh, gosh. You know what? I got the new one in my hands right now, and I want to say it's about 68 pages.
Now, one of the first reasons I thought of calling you, which was supposed to be the first item as a topic of discussion, was the eclipse coming up in April, on April 8th. Mm-hmm. What's going on with that? What are you folks doing with that?
Oh, yeah. We are gearing up. And we have been for over a year. We've been gearing up for this. So Visit Erie, and I'm sort of the one spearheading it. We convened a group a little over a year ago of community officials, business owners, all sorts of folks here in Erie to get a committee together and start preparing for the total solar eclipse. Mm-hmm. From what we've understood from other destinations who have been in the path of totality, this is a very rare event, and for a destination to be on that path of totality is an enormous deal. I've heard it described in the media as there's an expectation of the 2024 total solar eclipse being like 50 Super Bowls because of the amount of people that will travel into the path of totality in order to witness it and experience that. So Visit Erie sort of took the lead on that a couple of years ago to get people in the community together, start talking about it, start planning for it, because we are expecting this to be probably, knock on wood, we hope, the biggest tourism event that Erie County has ever seen.
People will celebrate that even if the weather turns bad. Local businesses should be prepared to have some fun either way. Am I close?
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's really our message is, we want to make sure our community is prepared from a couple of angles. One being from a transportation and a safety standpoint, we want to make sure that our police, fire, rescue, EMS are all working together to make sure that our roads are clear and that traffic is moving and that people are able to get here and move throughout the region safely. There will be a ton of traffic that day. It's unavoidable, but we want to make sure we're as set up as humanly possible for that day. My
other question is, what about the eclipse glasses? What's the story on the glasses this year?
Yeah, the story on the glasses is you need them. Don't look at the sun without them. We want you to keep your eyes safe. Mm-hmm. But Visit Erie has purchased a stock. I want to say we have 30,000 or so
Those will be gone. I'm sorry.
They'll be gone, but we'll have them available. So folks will be able to get the Visit Erie Eclipse glasses on a first-come, first-served basis, April 5th through the 8th, at a couple of locations, one being the Erie Visitor Center at the Tom Ridge Environmental Center, another being the I-90 Welcome Center at the New York border, and another at the I-79 rest stop in Edinburgh. The remainder we're distributing to, like I said, partner businesses who are having events. Hotels will all have them, so that each guest checking into a hotel room or campground or bed and breakfast will have Eclipse glasses for all of their visitors. As well as, like I said, the people who are hosting events or are doing things. And we sort of touched on that earlier, and I think that's really an important message, is like, even if it is cloudy, which that's a whole other conversation, the weather could also be great that day. But no matter what, people are going to come here for this. And this is truly once in a lifetime for Erie to be on the path of totality. So anybody, any business owner, anybody who's going to be here and has an opportunity to maximize on this, it's really Visit Erie's job to help get the community prepared, but then also to shout about all the things that are happening. We get calls every day from people that are asking, not only like, are there still hotel rooms left? Where can I stay? But also, what can I do there? Are there events happening? And even if you're not hosting an event, just be open. It's a Monday. We know that's typically a day when a lot of restaurants aren't open. Sometimes attractions aren't open on Mondays.
Yeah.
This is a Monday that you're going to want to be open. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll fix that. So it's going to be an exciting time, rain or shine, and that's a good logo to have, rain or shine. Either way, it's an opportunity, as you are expressing, for folks to put their best foot forward. Okay, maybe the day isn't so great, but come sit at my place. Come out and have a glass of wine. Go sit in my restaurant. Enjoy the hotel pool, and we'll make it fun for you.
Exactly.
I'm sure it'll have a value one way or the other.
Oh, it will. It certainly will. There's, from the perspective of like, what will the day look like if it is cloudy, which, as I mentioned, anywhere along the path, which spans from Texas up through Maine, anywhere along the path has a possibility of seeing clouds. And if folks want to get a detailed and educated breakdown of the weather, we've got a really good video on our website that Tom DeVecchio made for us, where he really breaks down what the cloud cover could be based on past data, as well as historical weather events along the path. And basically the message is there's a chance of cloud cover or poor weather anywhere along the path. It could just as easily be nice here. But even if it is, cloudy, it's still going to get dark. You're still going to have the experience of it, the sky becoming dark in the middle of the afternoon. And there is still enough to do here in Erie that those visitors go enjoy all the other things there are to do that day.
Hey, if the view doesn't work out, you're someplace where you're going to have a great time. Anything else that you'd like to talk about relative to Visit Erie itself?
No, I think it's just, important for folks to remember that, tourism is an industry that really benefits our whole community. So much of the things that we enjoy here as residents are also businesses that are supported by the tourists and the visitors that come here. So our community is vibrant in part because of that. And I think it's really just our mission. It's Visit Erie's mission to make sure that, that stays that way, that we're continuing to bring visitors here, not just in the summer, but in every season and for every reason, to support those businesses and enjoy our community so that, in turn, that it boosts our economy, and which in turn is a benefit for everybody that lives here. And it's something we're just really, as an organization, we're really proud that we get to do that every day.
Emily Biddle, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to sit and record this with me today. And we really appreciate everything that you do here. It's exemplary. You do a great job. It's a great place subsequently, and we have everything. And thank you for visiting today. Real pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you having me on.